Hey guys, welcome to the Patti Martin Real Estate Group YouTube channel. My name is Adam Wachtel, and today we're talking about the home buyer rescission period, or the cooling off period, and everything you need to know to be prepared in 2023. So the cooling off period is coming into effect January 2023, and it will affect all residential real estate sales. What the cooling off period allows buyers to do is rescind or cancel an offer after acceptance for up to 3 business days. So if you had an accepted offer on Monday, the cooling off period would start Tuesday, go through Wednesday, and end Thursday at midnight. Now keep in mind, the cooling off period and a subject removal period run at the same time. The cooling off period is only 3 days. The subject removal period could be 7, 10, 12, 15 days, whatever you're able to negotiate. Now the cooling off period does not include weekends and holidays, so those days are excluded from the time frame. Keep in mind, the cooling off period applies to any residential real estate transaction, whether or not you use a realtor. Now, like any housing policy, there are a few exemptions. So the cooling off period does not apply to sales of leased land or leasehold interest, assignment sales, commercial property, industrial land, farmland, pre-sales, which are actually governed by REDMA and have their own 7-day rescission period. But the policy does apply to detached houses, duplexes, condos, townhouses, and apartments. So if a buyer does rescind their offer, there is a fee the buyer has to pay to the seller, and that is 0.25% of the accepted offer price. So if the accepted offer was $1 million, the rescission fee would be $2,500. But this is where we begin to poke holes in this type of policy. So the way the seller gets the rescission fee is if a buyer has paid the deposit to the brokerage and then rescinds within those first 3 days, the buyer's brokerage would send the rescission fee to the seller. Now, more often than not, especially in Metro Vancouver, deposits are not paid until subject removal. So if an offer is made, it's been accepted, the buyer decides to rescind their offer in those first 3 days and the deposit has not been paid to the buyer's brokerage account, then it is up to the seller to seek legal advice on how to get those funds from the buyer themselves. Now, if the deposit has been paid to the brokerage will pay the rescission fee to the seller automatically. So let's take, for example, you go and try and buy a house with a group of buyers. On any contract of purchase and sale, anybody that's part of your group, so say there's 2 people or 3 people, would have to sign every aspect of that offer. They'd have to initial any changes, or any agreement would have to be signed by all 3 people. In the case of the rescission period, if one person wanted to cancel the offer, they can go ahead and sign the rescission paperwork and cancel the offer for the entire group. If the group still wanted to purchase the property, they would have to start another contract of purchase and sale and begin the negotiations again to buy that property. The next type of scenario is a backup offer. Suppose there's a property that has an offer that's already accepted and you want to make a backup offer. After some negotiation, you get an accepted backup offer, which is contingent on the first offer collapsing before yours gets put into first place. So you have an acceptance, your rescission period begins the day after acceptance and runs for 3 days. Now, you will not be paying for an inspection in those first 3 days because you don't technically have the property, and a bank will not be doing their appraisal or financing because, again, you don't have the property and they're not going to waste their resources. So this is where the cooling off period doesn't quite make sense. You're going to be reliant on your subject removal period once that first offer collapses and then you get put into first place. So let's talk about multiple offers, which are pretty common in Metro Vancouver. Suppose you're the seller, you receive multiple offers, and you have a couple offers that are subject free with a bank draft attached. So pre-cooling off period, if you accepted one of those subject free offers with the bank draft attached, your home is sold and the price can be released. Now that we have the cooling off period, if you accept that same subject free offer with a bank draft attached to it, you have to wait 3 full days until you can actually confirm that your home is sold. So this is going to affect the market in 2 ways. The first is that there's going to be a delay in real-time pricing that's going to affect how buyers and sellers actually act in the market. So buyers and sellers won't find out that sale price until day 4. Secondly, the seller needs to go buy a place to move into. They can't safely remove subjects on a place that they want to get into until the 4th day, and they've confirmed that the buyer is proceeding with the purchase of their home that they wrote a subject-free offer on. So I really don't think the cooling off period is going to have much of an impact in the Metro Vancouver real estate market in 2023 onwards. It really only applies to subject-free offers. The minute you have a subject in your offer, that timeline runs concurrently with the cooling off period, and you can cancel or rescind your offer based on a subject not being fulfilled without penalty. So there you have it, guys, my analysis of the cooling off period in 2023 and how it's going to affect the market. If you guys have any questions at all, click the link in the description below, get in touch with us. We'd love to talk to you about how the cooling off period is going to affect the market in 2023 and especially your particular situation.